Tell us about the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. Tell us a little bit about, you know, what your experience has been so far on that.
Well, that would be giving away top secret information. And
Tell us.
Marvel and Disney would cut my head off.
Okay.
And,
what was it like getting the job?
I can tell you personal things.
That's cool. Do it.
You know, like my first experience with a real, honest to God, true blue English paparazzi. I think they were English paparazzi. They were tiny little people. They were only this little. They're like little leprechauns. And they're like tiny little people, and they were way up in the wood line. And I looked up there and I said, oh, they said, oh, there's paparazzi here. And I said, oh, they found us out? They said, yeah, they followed somebody. But anyway, they didn't follow us. They had already been set up. They knew where we were going to be, I think. But I said to myself, oh, jeez, that's like 500 yards away. So what? You know, no big deal. And those are all the photos you guys saw in the magazines. They got almost medium shots. Their lenses must have been like 3 feet fucking long. You know, and 2 feet in diameter, I swear. That was amazing. I just thought it was pretty amazing that they were able to get so close and such detailed shots, because truly, you cannot see them. And you couldn't even tell the cameraman from a bush. It was like, except there was like little movements. So that was just the other day, actually, when we were shooting that sequence.
Anytime I've talked to any cast member from The Walking Dead, every single one of them hands down says partying with you was the best. Who did you like to party with?
Nobody. That's why it's the best. Partying with me, it's just like me. You just, look, he's partying again. Don't go near him, man. He's found himself a corner, he's partying, leave him alone. That's what happens.
I know you said you can't really speak too much in detail about Guardians of the Galaxy, right. But I know you're working on it with James Gunn, who's a constant collaborator, and I think a friend of yours. Have you found the experience to be any difference working on a capital B big movie versus kind of the more?
You didn't think Slither was a big movie?
Slither was a big movie.
Super was a big movie.
Super, I love Super.
Super was a big movie. How about Human Z? Mm-hmm. Human Z was a massive movie, dude. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just mean like one of those big tentpole.
He's busier. Well, no, he's busy all the time. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a little movie or a big movie, he's working his butt off. He's really busy. Mm-hmm. And just, like once a week maybe we'll actually get together and have a drink and have some food and chill out, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But generally there's more than one person he knows personally around. So, it was me and a couple of friends from the States were there, and so we all went out to dinner and chilled down a little bit, just before I came over here. Yeah, but there's not much of a difference in it. I mean, the stress is massive, right? Mm-hmm. So, but when you're in your own little world, no matter where you're at, you're doing a tiny little independent movie, mm-hmm. or a giant big budget movie like Guardians. But it's kind of cool to see, people who started out in the independent world, like myself and like James, now together on this huge Disney Marvel extravaganza. It's really kind of fucking cool. Yeah, so if you stick around long enough, stuff happens, and it's kind of fun. I've always wanted to, work with those folks, and so it's kind of cool. I like it.
Speaking of that, we're with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a fan of Marvel in the past, or did you get involved in the Guardians storyline? I don't know who they are yet.
Well, yeah. I mean, Gunn was, He's a massive comic reader, so I just picked up on it because my friends, I thought the superhero and the bad girls dressed really cool, and so I kind of dug them, and I just look at the pictures. I almost learned how to read doing this, that along with other magazines.
With The Walking Dead, did you ever just want to show up on a day off and dress as a walker and see if anybody noticed?
No.
I think it would be fun.
It's not fun dressing as a walker. Trust me, the makeup is really hot. The clothes don't look as good. We don't get to have sexy dirt. As Merle, I got to have sexy dirt. I looked a little sexy and macho. And, I got to pump up my arms. On walkers, you got to be dirty and schlepping around like your old Uncle Earl or something like that. No, I'm not into the whole walker thing, but people really dig it. They like dressing and looking like the walkers. And some of the folks that come down there and they get to be a walker, really pretty cool. It just makes you want to kill them. Oh gosh. And you notice how simple their heads just squish. What is that all about? Heads don't squish that. Come on.
It's the Georgia Heat.
I mean, my head. I've broken iron pipes over my head myself. It's not a joke. I really did one time. I knocked myself out one time cleaning my yard. There was an L on the pipe, and I didn't notice it. It was the last pipe of the day. I was cleaning all this old pipe out of my yard, and I said, "Yeah, the pipe!" And I flung that pipe into the dumpster, and the next thing I knew, I was sitting on the ground like this. What am I doing on the ground? I had no idea where I was, why I was on the ground, and it was such a pleasant day. I was like, wow, it just feels so good. And birds were tweeting and all that stuff. But I had knocked myself completely bonkers with this iron pipe. Went over and I picked it up, I realized what happened, and then I looked at it and I had broken the pipe. It was, the L was no longer an L. It had been broken completely. It had shattered the pipe over the back of my head. So people's heads are not soft. That's where I'm getting at here. You think I'm going off on some tangent. No, zombies' heads are not that soft. I'm telling you, it doesn't work that way.
So you've appeared on the show as like a figment of Daryl's imagination before. Is that going to happen again?
I was not a figment of his imagination. He was a figment of my imagination. Now, I kind of saw it as his guardian angel. Through his mind, he's gone. He's dying. He knows he's gone. And at the last moment, his brother comes to him and threatens to kick him in the balls. And, get up, climb the mountain. Come on, kick off your high heels, sissy boy, and climb. So that's how, it was awesome. Wasn't it a cool scene? Yeah. But what was your question?
Do you think that'll happen again in the future? You'll just show up as to talk to him even though you're gone?
If I show up again in the future, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to do more than talk. I'm going to kick his ass. He stabbed me like 8 or 9 times, dude. That shit wasn't right. I mean, come on, it only takes one. Please.
About The Walking Dead, season 1, when you were left on the rooftop, right?
Yeah.
At that moment, it's safe to say now, since we moved, past that, is it safe to say that you knew where the story arc would go, that Merle would return at that point, or was it still, up in the air as far as what your character development and where the story would go with you?
It was totally up in the air. They might have. I don't think they had any idea what they wanted to do with that role, with that character, because it was such a cliche written piece on the rooftop with the rifle, shooting the heads off zombies, and of course they have the black guy come out. You know, black guy against redneck guy. Redneck guy has gun. Oh, come on. You know, what do you think's going to happen, right? There's going to be shit that goes down. That's such a cliche scenario. So the job I had was basically to, I'm answering that question I want to answer, not when you ask, right? But someone told me that's what you should do. But anyway, you know what? It came out good, though.
It did.
Merle didn't, I didn't shoot him. He hit first. He went to hit first. Of course, I put the gun down, and then we have a good old brawl. I thought it was quite fair. I thought it was a fair fight. It's Merle against 4 other guys. For me, that's fair. You know, everybody's saying, oh my God, you were so mean. I was like, what are you talking about? 3 other guys jumped in that fight. I thought it was quite fair that I take out the stupid cop. You know, that was perfect karma. You know, because you could tell from this character that him and law enforcement did not necessarily get along. So it was so perfect. Just lay one right on his nose and knock him over the pole. So to really answer your question, no. Basically, simple. I'm trying to make it not so simple an answer.
No,
I did not know. Nobody knew until after that whole sequence. Frank Darabont sort of looked, and he was watching the whole sequence, and he came up to me and said, "I got to go back to L.A. I got to go back to L.A. and I got a surprise for you." And he left. And I think at that moment, he knew he wanted that character to come back, and he was going to go and manipulate the script, the future script, to help that along its path. And he did very well. That 4.5 minute monologue, the next episode was killer. That was sweet, and that was like so great to be able to do, because one sequence, you're looking at this character and you're going like, what a cliche piece of shit, you know? Oh my God, why would you even want to hang out with someone like that in a zombie apocalypse? Why would you want to gather around? Sometimes you don't have a choice, right? But, you know, this is, it's just your attitude, I think, for the average, you know, watcher. And then the next time you see him, you know, he's still on the roof and he's making racial comments and sexual comments and sugar tits and all that kind of stuff. Yet he's still handcuffed, and he's just thinking that they're never going to just leave him, you know. So why say, please let me go, please let me go? So, and then of course the 4-minute monologue was just specifically timed to change everyone's mind, because even I just think the sympathy went from, you know, all the other people that I was verbally abusing and physically abusing to me, to Merle. Handcuffed, alone, on the roof, left to die. No water, no food, 3-4 days. Zombies at the door. Totally. Simply, completely went to this character. And there was nothing anyone could do about it. You know. And that's what changed people's conception of this role and of this guy. Because even, no matter how big an asshole he could be, no one deserved that death. And that's what it was. It was a death sentence. So, which after that I kind of knew, you know, after that I knew, yes, this guy's gonna come back. He's got to come back somewhere, sometime during this sequel, during this show, if it lasts more than one season.
So there's been an increase in film and television production in Georgia, and I think The Walking Dead has played a tremendous part in that. But I'm curious about how you've viewed being an actor here in the South and in Georgia. How is that different, good, bad, and otherwise, compared to production in other parts of the world that you've been in?
It's hotter down here.
Sure.
Well, yeah, the infrastructure is here. You know, I think it's kind of cool to have, you know, you're in the center of the southeastern United States. It's quite a good location. You know, you got Florida and the Carolinas and Texas, and you're sort of in the middle. I think it's a great spot, you know, and they have a really wonderful program, I think, you know, as far as for filmmakers, you know, and the incentives that they're offering, you know, the state I'm talking about.
Sure.
So it's quite cool. Cool in awesomeness, not cool in temperature. And then we have it's very muggy, very hot, very buggy, very, you know, you don't have to worry about putting sweat on, you don't have to worry about making someone look disheveled or like really exhausted. You don't have to act too much. You know, you're out there in the woods, and man, you're just out there in the woods. You know, it's like, yeah, it makes it easy for the actor, for the performer. You don't have to worry about it, man. Yeah, the sweat is coming down. You know, you're hot. You want to go home. You want to have an iced tea, you know, Long Island preferably. But, you know, that kind of stuff. I know, it's cool. It's great. The more the merrier, basically. I mean, the more states that are competing here in the lower 48, baby, the less we have to go overseas or up into Canada. Not that I don't like going up into Canada, but it's just like, hey, let's keep the money where the money needs to be, right here in the States, and let's do it. And that comes from competition. We got to compete with the world now, not just with the United States, not just with each individual states, which we should be doing, you know, and we are. But trust me, it's really nice shooting in the UK. I like it. I'm enjoying the hell out of myself. And so it's, for the actor, it's beautiful to go to these UK could be considered exotic. They got a lot of pubs, awful lot of pubs, and almost no TVs in their pubs. That's kind of what I like the best about the pubs over there.
You know, you grew up in Alabama. You
I
were there
did.
for 13 years before you moved to Chicago.
We don't call them pubs there. We call them, you know, joints and what else do they call them down there? They didn't even have them when I grew up down there. It was illegal. It was dry. I lived in a dry county, I think it was a dry state at the time. So, you know, you'd have to go to county line or something. It wasn't a dry state because you could go to county line and then, of course, drive back. You know, I never did that because I was too young, but I know my cousins did and my uncles and aunts did. I could, yeah, you can smell it when they get back. No.
So I'm writing a piece about the southernness of DragonCon. More to the point, the southernness of fantasy and science fiction culture. You're probably the best person in the world to answer this question. How compatible do you think the work that you've done on The Walking Dead is with Southern culture?
How compatible?
I know, it's a crazy question.
Well, that's a nutty question. It's obvious. You know, Merle Dixon and Daryl Dixon are your perfectly written cliche Southern backwoodsmen who one has they both have these magnificently big hearts, but one is dark, a bit darker, and the other one is like, you know, he can socialize with these people. Merle has no desire to socialize with this group or these people. Never did. You know, the only thing he wanted was to snatch his brother up and get back into the woods and go trap and hunt and have a good time, you know, and stuff. And he still wants it the way it was before the apocalypse. Yeah, you can't have it, and you know, it could never happen. And so it was a beautiful arc for me, and I'm like a Southern song, you know. Starts out bad. There's some good stuff, and then it ends up bad. So, yeah, it was really cool. But you know what? The Walking Dead and my character in The Walking Dead is perfect for your article, you know, and so it's a core. And the Southern people here in the con, I just met, I think it was 5 girls from Birmingham, Alabama, which is 40 miles from my hometown, Jasper, and one of them had a tattoo of Alabama with a little star of Birmingham under her armpit. She's like, look! I'm like, whoo! Yeah! That's amazing! So I think at least half the people I've spoken to since I've been here are Southern. You know, but there are people from all over the world here right now, yeah.
Speaking of the South, are you in Alabama? Do you have some Roll Tide blood in you? And you know this weekend's a huge game here in Atlanta. Alabama's playing Virginia Tech at the Dome.
I know it.
Are you going?
I'm busy.
Come on, Steve.
Well, I've been invited to NASCAR. There's a big race on Sunday too. I'm busy doing something. I forgot what it was. You know, but somebody will remind me what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Can I ask a favor? We're doing a live broadcast this afternoon. At the end of the press conference, could we get a couple quick breaks with you?
Who are you?
With Rock 100.5.
Oh, it's a radio.
Wax and
radio
some
guys.
regular guys that hung out at Iron Ease with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If that'd be all right.
I don't know. I think we have some time and stuff. I don't know. You have to ask. But I think it's fine with me. So what the hell is Marvel doing down here?
We flew down.
You flew down? You guys? Oh, both of you from Marvel?
Yeah.
And tell me, what do you do for Marvel? What is
web content for the website. So we were going to ask the same question too.
Oh right. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
Well, I knew we were doing you, but I didn't know we were doing anybody else. But that'd be okay. Yeah. So you're going to save your questions till then, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All the secret questions. You know, I still can't answer you.
I know.
Marvel. No one told me. No one called me last night and said, hey, oh, by the way, Marvel's coming in the morning. Go ahead and answer any questions they want. But I'll answer some stuff for you. I gotten good at talking for an hour and a half and saying nothing. I think that's natural. That's my natural southernness. I can talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and say nothing, and people walk away going, "What did he say? I have no idea what that guy said."
Speaking of Marvel, and you know, we're seeing an influx right now of comic book films being made
in a major way,
in a huge
really
way.
Cool.
Was there or is there currently someone that you feel that you could have really brought some of your, you know, gravitas, as you will, to a character? Because we're always seeing now that they're going to get heavy hitters. And in my opinion, in your years of acting, you're one of those heavy hitters. You're one of those character actors that can really come in and bring so much to a part. Is there a character that you felt in the comic book genre that you would have just loved to portray?
Well, actually, there's bunches of them. There's not even one. I mean, there's a gamut of roles that are, you know, that back when I first started, you couldn't really do. I mean, you'd look silly, you know. The outfits would be all bulky and not sexy at all, and you know, and of course, as you know, Merle likes to look sexy. He likes his sexy dirt. That's what they did. They call it sexy dirt down there in Sonoya. They call it sexy dirt. And they go, here, put this dirt on. It's like, what? Oh, geez. Okay, let me do it. Yeah, put it on. Really put it on, because you've been out there for a long time. And so you just smear this stuff on. So I just watched Norman, and he was on the show more than me before I came back. And he'd just go, he'd roll around in it like a little hamster. You know how the hamsters will go and do a little dust bath? They had a little pin out back for Norman. He'd go out there and like roll around in the dirt and get underneath it and rub his nose on it. He was like a little hamster boy out there rolling around in the sexy dirt. And after watching him do it, I was like, well, I don't think I want to be a little hamster, but I'll put a little bit more on. Was there a question there?
Yeah, you invaded it rather nicely. Thank you. But no, seriously, like, was there anyone that you thought like, hey, I would
I
love
remember.
to play?
Oh my God, yes, that's right. It was a serious question.
It's comic books. I don't know how serious they could be, you know.
Oh,
But
what are you talking about, dude?
I read comic books, but I'm just saying.
That's
like,
a serious
when
question,
I cure
man.
cancer or nothing. It means comic books.
You know
What
there are
would you like to
superheroes out there walking around LA streets right now.
Oh, is that what we're calling them now? I thought we were calling them trans.
Vigilante.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're calling them.
So who would you have liked to play?
Oh man, you know what? In the superhero genre, and of course they have the dark side and the
Absolutely.
So I would definitely not want to. I'm not going to answer you.
Okay.
But I tell you that I would definitely not. I want the more conflict the characters have, the better I perform. Sometimes the darker they are, just the extremes, you know. Being a really tough, sometimes these characters that I like and enjoy are people who can in 1 minute rip your head off and toss it over, and the next minute run out and save a little baby in the middle of the street. So those are the roles I enjoy. Or a little puppy, you know, just a really anti-hero, tough, you don't want to mess with, but yet, you know, all of a sudden they pick up the baby kitten and save it, you know. You know, that kind of person. There's something inside that is, there's still a beautiful little light going on, and it shows itself every now and then. That's kind of what Merle was, and that's why for me, to get back to The Walking Dead, I think that was a beautiful arc for my character, you know, to go out the way he went out, and not only to go out the way he went out, but also to start the way he started was really amazing, and comic book guys are kind of written in that realm as well. Mm-hmm. They're even the best heroes can have their dark sides, and you know you got to have that dichotomy and that extreme to make you appreciate the stuff that occurs in these comics, and I think they're written so well. I mean, when I first got the role of Yondu, Gunn was like, "Don't read any of the comics." I said, "I already read the comics, dude. What are you talking about?" But it's beautiful stuff. It's and so whenever you do a film of a comic book character and stuff, and you just don't know how much you can actually show. You don't know how much is going to be brought out, and nowadays movies are done, and they already have 2 or 3 others planned out. So stuff that you do in this one, and you're going, well, why aren't we doing this, and why aren't we doing that? And you're like, well, be patient. Smack you upside the head. Be patient. Actors are not very patient people. They're plain simple. Yeah, go ahead.
As far as zombie apocalypse,
yeah.
Who survives longer, Merle or Michael Rooker?
What?
Who survives the zombie apocalypse longer, you or Merle? Or spinning?
Well, how about Grant? Yeah, Grant would become the apocalypse. He would become the zombie. The zombies would all come join him. Oh boy. Norman likes to say he'd run and hide in some penthouse and order up. I just.
Do you have a plan? Is what I'm asking. Are you?
You want to know if I have a plan? I have a plan for the zombie apocalypse, dude. my plan for the zombie apocalypse is my normal, natural plan for life.
Ask your question? Last question. Okay, I was just going to say, I was at Comic-Con and when they revealed...
You've been quiet over there.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When they revealed the movie, it was great. I'm curious, I know you can't answer a lot of questions, but can you tell us possibly how long it takes you to get into costume for a Yondu? Because you're a different color, and I'm sure it's...
It doesn't matter what color you are, you put your pants on one leg at a time. I've tried that, but I do sometimes 2 legs at a time. I hold the pants and I just flip over and put them on. I can put them on like that, but there's a little cap and there's a little give, and my toes always get stuck. So I got to really actually do 1 leg at a time.
Time frame?
No time at all. You know,
Okay.
the director's like, but it really takes no time at all. It's fairly simple. I mean,
Okay.
it's beautiful. I mean, you saw the photos. It's layered, it's textured, it's hot,
Sexy.
and it's sexy, right?
Yes, it
Well,
is.
whenever the Rookers start sweating, baby, it gets,
It doesn't matter what color you are.
that's for sure.
We can take the blue. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Do you have
Thank you
time
guys
to-
for coming.